Well, as we said, Deputy President Paul Mashatile expected to address the Anti-Corruption Day dialogue later on today. This gathering is a collaboration between UNISA as well as the United Nations. For more on this, let's now speak to SABC News reporter Ntlantla Kgatlhane. Ntlantla, tell us about what's expected on the program.
Do you have any idea what time it's going to be?
Well, a very good day indeed, Eldrin, coming to you right here from Pretoria at the International Anti-Corruption Dialogue. You know, when we spoke earlier, I told you that this dialogue, you know, amongst others, is to engage about this phenomenon of corruption. Here it's where, you know, politicians or political leaders, government and experts in the field come together to just sit down and analyze, you know, corruption. It's a global phenomenon, Eldon. But with me here, I'm with Mr. Bolton from the Ahmed Kathrada Foundation, who's going to talk to us with regards to him being here. A very, very interesting engagement, dialogue here, but we couldn't help to notice that, you know, lobby groups, civil society is not here. Your views with regards to that?
No, thank you very much. It's unfortunate. This is an annual event. For the first time, the program doesn't really have anybody from civil society other than Cynthia Stimple, who will be doing something symbolic. But more importantly, this event has become ritualistic. We do it almost for the sake of doing it every year, saying nothing new, holding nobody to account, and we leave here with a sense that something has been accomplished. I said on the stage last year, if we can agree on one action that can be accomplished before the next year, which is today, then that would be worth celebrating. So I'm as much as I think it's important to talk, I think the actions fall far short of what is required today.
And quite an interesting view there, Mr. Bolton. We talk about not only relying on government and also relying on communities. We talk about such events being talk shops. And then you see that the most important element, especially when you look at a scenario where people have lost confidence in the police, and you find such an important event lacking that critical voice.
The voice of people who are suffering from corruption invariably gets left out, because what that will do is the people of Hammanskraal, who have had to endure going without water because of corruption in relation to the water issues in that area, won't be heard here. The people who have had to suffer from asbestos housing in the Free State won't be heard here. What we will hear is government really saying that they are winning the war on corruption. We differ. We think that corruption today is on the scale of a growing tsunami. And unless we accept that this problem is huge, requires different approaches, then we must stop congratulating ourselves on very small steps of success. It's not good enough anymore.
And last question for me, what really needs to be done? Are you confident with such dialogues?
I think there's a place for dialogues, but they must be critical. I would like to see a dialogue where, when the Deputy President speaks, there is an interrogation of the plans, of the proposals, and of the accomplishments, and a critical engagement with that. I think for far too long, we merely accept what is being said without critical engagements on platforms like this. And that becomes the storyline. We will reject the storyline that we are winning this war. We accept that there are small steps that have been taken, but the scale of the problem has grown today from every national department to almost every municipality across the country, from every traffic department to hospital and so forth. And unless we acknowledge the scale of the problem, then we should not be satisfied with small incremental steps and victories, when what is really required today is to see the big names and the big fish behind bars in orange overalls. Only that will begin to restore confidence in many of the citizens in this country that there is a willingness and a political will to tackle this problem with the seriousness that it deserves.
Well, thank you so much. Eldon, that was Mr. Bolton from the Ahmed Kathrada. On that note, I'm going to bring in the spokesperson of the SIU, Mr. Kgatlhane. You as an institution, you depend not only on government to give you an opportunity to investigate, but also to the views from the communities. And Mr. Bolton there just said that in such, events, the most critical voice is needed, whereby, it can also play a role of encouraging people, to come to institution and SIU and, ask for investigation if they feel like there's something wrong, especially at local government.
No, definitely, I agree with that, because from our side, we have started the forums. We've got anti-corruption forums, the health forum, the local government, the infrastructure build. And in those forums, we've got people from the ordinary people from the society and groupings like his. They are part of that because it is important to engage with the people. Our investigations are based on reportage from those people. Therefore, when they are part of these forums, they are able to bring all of the things that are there, and we then end up giving out quality work in our organization.
A lot of work done by the SIU. A lot of people are complaining that lack of holding people accountable becomes an issue. And with regards to your institution, they said that you'd find it doing its work, but when you submit those reports or those results of investigation, then it just disappeared. And it seems like it renders you guys really, really useless, because those investigations are done for a reason, not to just highlight an issue, but so that action can be taken.
No, definitely we do our action, and we do not even shy away. The one thing that people need to understand is we do our investigation and give the report to the president, but we don't wait for the president to do anything about them. By the time we give the report to the president, we have already acted. If there is a need for us to recover money, which is the main thing that we do, we recover the money. You have seen the examples of people that we have recovered from. We do our work. It's just that the Act says where we find criminality, we must then refer it to the National Prosecuting Authority, and we don't have full control of what happens to it after that. But as far as we are concerned, we do what we have to do without fear or favor, and people sometimes say, no, you go for the small fish, and I always say that cannot be true. We have got examples of MECs who were removed from their positions because of the work of the SIU. Therefore, we do our work without fear or favor. We achieve the goals that we want to achieve.
One last question from me. Talking about favor, it must be really worrisome at some instant that, the very same community that you depend on sometimes tend to find themselves in a fearful, or they are afraid to come forward and report, incidents of corruption.
No, definitely that is the case, where people are sometimes fearful, because these people cannot sit back. They always fight back by threatening all of these people. That is why we have called for the whistleblower regime to be strengthened. We are part of it, and then we have contributed to that. But at the same time, the same kind of people are the ones that are harboring and enjoying the benefits of the people who are corrupt. And that's why we have phenomenons like slave queens. It is because of this kind of corrupt people who then create that kind of industry. Therefore, it's a balance between the two that needs to be done.
Well, thank you so much. Eldon, that was Kgatlhane from the SIU. But earlier you heard when we spoke to Mr. Bolton saying that from the Ahmed Kathrada, saying that the most critical voice in such engagements or dialogue, Eldrin, is the voice from the communities. And he says that they sometimes tend to render such dialogues as, being useless, whereby, political heads, certain organizations come, but the most critical ones that are in the community, they are left out of this. With that being said, Eldrin, it's back to you in studio.